everyone, Spin Pixie here, and it's a water kind of day. I have my regular well water, and I also have some berry and coconut water that I'll be drinking here. It's going to be in the Hades today, and yeah, that's just kind of how it's been here. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about doing rituals in your home versus doing them outside of the home. And I wanted to talk about this because I've been in both situations where I couldn't do rituals outside, and then situations where I have done rituals outside. And I kind of want to share my experiences with both. Now, early in my practice, I was always in a home, someone else's home, or an apartment, or stuff like that where I really couldn't do rituals outside. That's not to say that I haven't. I've done rituals with friends. We used to have these really pretty rituals that we would do in the park. And then also I've been privileged enough to be able to work with my friends in my backyard when I was living with my grandmother. But I've never gotten a chance to do a solitary ritual on my own outside. So when I moved to the country, I thought that this would change. But shortly after I moved here, there was a fire, and that was very unsettling. The fire actually came onto the property, and the last thing that I saw as I was being evacuated was them trying to save my pomegranate tree because it had caught. The fire actually, they were telling us, first they were saying that the fire wouldn't jump the wash across over where the hills were, where the fire started. Then when the fire jumped the wash, they said, oh, well, we'll stop it before it gets to the property. Then it got to the property, and then they're like, okay, well, you guys gotta leave. So when that happened, the last thing I saw was my pomegranate tree going up in flames, and that wasn't a pretty sight. So it was very unsettling. It was very, very unsettling to see that. And then it took me a minute to want to do rituals outside again. It took me a minute to want to chance it because I didn't want to start another fire and blah, 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 blah. So then that rational thinking became an excuse. And so then basically it just, I never did anything, and then the yard got really untended to. My landlords they're kind of elderly, so they don't mow the lawns and stuff. They told me I was not responsible for the care of the yard, and every time I brought up having someone come in to do it, they said that they would take care of it. Well, finally they did. And it's still dry out here. We're still, experiencing a huge drought, but I've wanted to do a ritual outside. I've had this real need to do a ritual outside by myself, under the stars, enjoying my property. I've magically cleansed my property, and I regularly do this. I have protected my property, and again, I regularly do this, but I've never gotten a chance to actually do a ritual outside. So, this past dark moon, I did my first ritual outside, and let me tell you, it's quite different being a solitary witch and working in your home indoors versus outside. Now, why is it different, you might ask? Well, when you're in your room, you're in an enclosed space. And when you're in the house, you're in an enclosed space. When you're outside, especially in a place like mine, where, I have probably bigger than the size of a baseball field of just straight flat land, it's so open. It's open, and it's dark, and the stars, you can see the stars come out, and especially when there's no moon, the stars work extra hard, it seems, just to come out and just to be there and be present for your ritual. And it was just a more spiritual thing. There was no aquarium feeling with my ritual. It was just beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And every excuse that I had for not doing ritual outside, every reason, everything I had for not doing a ritual outside was changed that night. It's a beautiful thing to do a ritual with friends outside, with family outside. It's a beautiful thing, but when you're working solitary and you're raising the power and you're calling your deities or you're invoking your deity, there's something just splendid about it. There's something very divine and different about doing a ritual outside of the home. So if you are a solitary practitioner and you have not done a ritual outside of your home, I highly recommend it. If you have to go somewhere public, I mean, granted, it's not going to be as, it's going to be different, because when you're in your own private sanctuary, it's, it's one thing, but when you're in public, you have to kind of watch for the people. The other outside world is, generally allowed there versus your own sanctuary where no one's allowed unless you say. So if you haven't and you have to go to a park, I still say do it. If you haven't done this yet and you have your own home, or you live in a home which would be open enough to the practice of doing something outside, I highly recommend it. And don't just sit there and whisper, I invoke, blah, 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 blah. Do it loudly. Do it the way that you're supposed to. Let the heavens hear you, and just be unbridled and do what you need to do to get that energy, because I guarantee you there's something different. There's something more free and connected to the heavens and to the earth and to the spirits, and there's just something more about doing it outside, and it has totally forever changed the way that I do ritual here. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out to you guys, so hopefully you'll give it a try if you haven't, and if you haven't and you do, let me know how it goes for you. I'd really be interested in hearing your experiences. If you are somebody who, like me, is in a really dry area and afraid of starting fires or whatnot, you can take precaution. Like, I always have pitchers of water outside my circle, especially if I'm burning something. And generally, it's just a wise sort of ritual to do, is to keep pitchers of water around when you're burning things, because you never know. So I just wanted to throw that all out to you guys, and hopefully you will try it if you haven't before, and if you have and you do it often, let me know what your experiences have been, because I think that it's a beautiful thing to go under the stars and to just experience that divinity. So that's it for this video. I'll probably do another couple videos today, so you might see me again. So until next time, many blessings.